So a few months ago, I walked into a convention center in Anaheim, California, and attended a talk at VidCon by this guy called Thomas Frank. You might have heard of him. He's a pretty popular Notion and productivity YouTuber. And in the space of an hour, he broke down his entire strategy for how he earns over $100,000 a month selling digital products to a relatively small and incredibly niche audience. And man, that hour blew my mind, and it sparked me to change my entire business strategy. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. His strategies, what I learned, and how you can apply these lessons to grow your business right now. And thank you to LinkStore for sponsoring this video.
I want to say we made $80,000 in 1 month. And that was legitimately more than we had ever made in the entire life of my business. I think the most we had ever made before then was around $70K 1 month.
So let me give you some background on Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank is kind of an OG productivity YouTuber. He's been posting on his main channel, Thomas Frank, for over 10 years. He started out posting productivity and studying tips for college kids and gradually switched over to more broad productivity and personal development content as he and his audience kind of aged out of his original focus. Right now, his main channel has just shy of 3 million subscribers. But that's not the channel we'll be focusing on today. To pull the kind of numbers that Thomas is pulling in revenue, you don't need millions of subscribers. The channel we'll be talking about today is his side channel, Thomas Frank Explains. Thomas Frank didn't just build some random product and go out and sell it to some random people. He built a very specific audience and a very specific product to solve a problem for that target audience. The Thomas Frank Explains channel can be described with one word, Notion. If you don't know, Notion is a really popular and powerful all-in-one productivity app that a ton of people use and some creators even sell templates for, myself and Thomas Frank included. Using Notion, you can manage your whole life, projects, your job, your work, etc. For me, as a content creator and an artist that sells stuff online, it is pretty crucial for me to stay organized, and Notion helps me do that. But Thomas Frank takes Notion to an entirely new level.
It's not about views. It's not about millions of views per month. It's about building the go-to resource, the go-to destination for your niche, and then selling a good product to your audience.
At VidCon, Thomas Frank described his strategy for this channel as wanting to be the one-stop shop for Notion, the most comprehensive resource for anyone wanting to learn about it. He's not focusing on views, but on creating the most thorough tutorials and explainer videos out there. He's employing this really interesting strategy of just making all of the Notion content. For any conceivable question someone could have about Notion, he either has or probably is making a video about it. He's doing deep dives into new features, tutorials for how to achieve certain things, and long, comprehensive videos showing you how to build out your own Notion workspace. He is providing an insane amount of value entirely for free. He gives out for free what 9 out of 10 creators would charge you the big bucks for. And even with me saying this, you're probably thinking to yourself, damn, this Thomas Frank guy seems like a pretty cool dude. And that's the power of providing value. He's building goodwill between him and his audience. He's giving you so much information entirely for free that when he finally has something to sell, you're more than willing to hear him out, click that link, check it out, and possibly even open up your wallet for him. Whenever I give someone advice for growing on social media, I always talk about value. Value is the single most important thing, I think, to growing online. I do my best to give a ton of it on this channel, giving you guys all of the business and marketing content that I accumulate along the way of my own journey, but I realize that it may not be obvious for how to provide value like Thomas Frank does if you aren't a more overtly educational creator. So I want you to encourage you to broaden your definition of value for a minute. Value doesn't just have to be educational. A few weeks ago, I made a video about my struggles with chronic fatigue and the obstacles that it creates in my creative practice. It's not easy. Oftentimes, I really struggle to get stuff done, but I'm still able to create a business that works for me. A lot of people commented on that video saying that they felt the same way. They have the same problems that I have, and they thanked me for making it because it made them feel seen, because they felt represented in a way they hadn't been before online. That was valuable for them. That was a good experience. Value doesn't just have to be a tutorial. Inspiring someone, making them feel seen and heard and appreciated, that provides value. Entertaining content or informative content also provides value. It doesn't just have to be educational. When you are giving someone your attention, be it watching Dimension 20 or The Blue-Eyed Samurai on Netflix, which is a great show, all of that provides value to you, right? Like hearing stories, inspiring stories that change us, that make us feel emotional, that is valuable. Your ability to connect with someone is value. Really just think beyond educational content. Yes, it is the easiest example, but it doesn't just have to be that. But you also can't provide the best value possible for someone if you don't know who you're talking to. And that's some really important advice in its own right. To build the most successful product possible, to build the most successful channel or Instagram profile or whatever possible, you need to know who you're talking to and who the product that you're building is for. If there is a gap between the audience that you currently have and the audience that would resonate the most with your product, you should be brainstorming ways to move in that right direction. I have a lot of content on social media growth, etc. I will link it in the description for you. But by creating an entirely separate channel and email list for his Notion content, Thomas Frank was able to cultivate a hyper niche audience and a list of people that are extremely interested in his product. So when he does start selling, he knows he's reaching people who are true prospective customers. And speaking of selling, if you sell on a platform like Etsy, Redbubble, Gumroad, or any online marketplace, you should strongly consider getting a branded link, something unique to you that's easy for your customers to remember. Prospective customers are a lot more likely to click on a link that looks official than one that's super long and looks like a phishing scam. And that's where the sponsor of this video comes in, Link.Store. Branded links are shorter, easier to remember, and look more professional. Link.Store's branded links auto-forward to a marketplace storefront and get 48% more clicks than by using marketplace URLs. Once you have your branded link, you can use it anywhere online or even in person on things like business cards or product packaging. And if you end up leaving a marketplace like Etsy or Gumroad for your own website down the road, you can stay consistent with your branding by having your branded link be the exact same thing as your website. If you're interested, all you need to do is go to www.link.store or click the link in the description and sign up. It is super easy. It's an absolute no-brainer in my opinion. Having consistent branding is so important. Plus, it's just really easy for your customers to remember where you are and always find you. And your first 6 months with Link.Store are totally free. I am so happy to be partnering with this company, and I really hope that you check them out.
I did actually build the template within 1 month. I launched it to a small wait list on my email list on April 4th, I want to say. And that was around 3,000 people. And with just 2 emails to those 3,000 people, I want to say we made $80,000 in 1 month.
So now you have the context for Thomas Frank. Let's talk about the digital product strategy. Thomas Frank's digital product strategy really echoes his content strategy. He simply aims to make the best product possible, which is like such a move, you know? The most comprehensive, valuable, life-changing Notion templates out there, that is what he makes. He puts in more effort than his competitors and it shows in his products. Again, he gives away a ton of content for free, right? So you're thinking to yourself, Jesus Christ, what is this guy charging for? How good are his paid products if this is what he's giving away for free? That is like the mindset that you go into when you look at his stuff. And that is very powerful. Think for a minute about how you could use that strategy for your own business. How much you could give away for free and then how much more you could charge for. It's a lot. It's really cool. He has two main products. One, the Ultimate Second Brain, and two, the Creator's Companion. Both are very comprehensive, built-out Notion templates for very specific people. He isn't putting his fingers in a ton of pies. He's not trying to make a product for everyone in his audience. He's instead dialing down and making one or two really high-value products that are insanely worth it for a subset of his audience. The Ultimate Second Brain, for example, is for note-taking power users, people that consume a lot of stuff, have a lot of ideas rattling around up in there, and need a place to store it all or they'll forget it. They could be anyone from researchers to engineers to novelists to content creators like me that just have tons of ideas all the time about paintings and stream ideas and products and videos, and I just have tons of stuff that I'm watching, consuming, reading, and thinking about all the time, and it's really nice to have some place to store it all. And this pool of people that are interested in the Ultimate Second Brain is pretty broad, and I'm guessing over time it will become his best-selling product. But notice how he frames this, right? And even how I'm talking about it. His product is a solution for a problem. The problem that he's solving is salient for a lot of his audience. It's a thing that they recognize, they know they have it, and it bothers them a lot. They want to figure out how to become more productive and how to kind of use the ideas and the things that they're consuming in a more creative, substantial way. They want to figure out how to synthesize it all, right? If you can find a similar kind of problem for artists or sculptors or ceramicists or whoever you're trying to speak to, right? Figure out how you can help them solve that problem and then design a product that fits that makes that work. But shifting focus here, if you take a look at the sales page for the Ultimate Second Brain, you're going to notice a few things. The first thing is that this is a sales page, the kind that you would see for a high-ticket online course, not a Notion template. The existence of the sales page, all the text describing the features, the testimonials, it reaffirms in your mind that this product is comprehensive, it is high value. And it totally makes sense that he would do this, especially when you see the price, which I will talk about in a minute. But if you're going to make something that promises to capture anything instantly, plan your day without stress, and manage your products, you're going to need to do a lot of work to convince people that you can actually deliver. And yes, Thomas does already have a lot of goodwill with his audience, of course, like I mentioned earlier, but it's strictly in his best interest to make the best sales pitch possible anyway. Slacking off here is just going to lose him money. My favorite professor in college was my philosophy professor. If you're watching this, hi Sam. His signature tip for crafting a really good argumentative essay was to treat your reader like they were a lazy, stupid, mean teenager. Imagine some surly teen that has no immediate investment in what you're talking about and is begrudgingly listening to you with a very raised eyebrow. You need to talk down that eyebrow. You need to anticipate their objections and resolve them before they can make them. I think that you should adopt a similar strategy when pitching your products. Dive deep in your explanation, cover all of the features and benefits that your thing has to offer, and try to smoothly address any possible doubts or objections along the way. Talk down that eyebrow. The second thing that you're going to notice on this sales page are all of the testimonials written by fairly impressive people peppered throughout the pitch of how cool this thing is and what it does. This builds up that social proof that's going to push you to click that buy now button. And okay, maybe you don't have best-selling authors as your customers. That's totally fine, but you could totally solicit testimonials from people who have purchased your stuff in the past, right? You could feature them on your product or your sales pages, throughout your website, however you wanted. Testimonials are a thing that is a really good thing to have on your website, on your product pages, etc., especially if your products are kind of pricey. You want every single bit of positive affirmation for your customers that they are making the right choice by buying your product. And ideally, you want the best product possible. And let me just take a minute to talk about this for a second. I think that you should go into this process trying to make the best product possible. Maybe not right away. Maybe you're going to iterate for 6 or so months and, offer your first version at a reduced price and slowly work your way up. But I think that you should be aiming for the best product possible. I think that you should be working really hard and trying to do your absolute best by your customers. There is no get rich quick scheme going on here. You just need to make something really good that people want to pay for and figure out how to get their eyeballs on it, basically, right? If you are going into this video wanting to learn, I don't know, like a bunch of tips to sell your cheap mass-produced AI art products, this is not the channel for you. This is not the video for you. When I talk about products and product strategy and business and marketing, I am going into it with the expectation that you are sincere and well-meaning and that you are just trying to do your absolute best. The last thing that I wanted to talk about here was pricing. Thomas Frank's Notion templates are pretty pricey, but they're also really high value. As I was talking about, they are very comprehensive. They are probably the most comprehensive Notion templates out there, to be honest. His Ultimate Brain template is $130. Woo! And the bundle of his 2 signature products is $230. That's a lot. But because we've been talking for so long about all the value he brings to the table and his sales page and the comprehensive nature of his products, those prices suddenly kind of make more sense. Thomas Frank uses what's called a value-based pricing model. Instead of thinking about expenses or profit margins, which are incredibly large for digital products, though Thomas Frank also has a whole dedicated customer support team, so his profit margins are likely a little bit lower than they could be, but again, that would partially compromise the integrity of the product's value. He has instead priced these digital products according to the value, i.e. the transformation they offer the customer, both in terms of real and perceived value. Thomas Frank's Notion templates aim to be really transformational, right? We've talked a fair bit about his thought process and how he develops his products and his social media content strategy and the bold aims stated on his sales pages. You would likely be pretty skeptical of how well these claims are backed up if he priced his products too low. A part of the game that we're playing when we price products is not just accounting for expenses and paying ourselves a livable wage, but also ensuring that we're being taken seriously and people believe that we can follow through on what we're saying. The entire kind of persona, and I'm not saying Thomas Frank is fake, but I am saying there is like an air to him and his presence online, right? He kind of exudes expertise and authority. I don't think this is like deliberately created. I think this is genuine, but it does play a factor in how much we are willing to pay for his stuff, right? Because we believe that he knows what he's talking about. His products are going to be high quality, and he has given us so much value for free, we are willing to pay more for the stuff that he offers, even if there was a competitor product out there that maybe had similar features and was a lot cheaper. Probably we would shell the money out for Thomas Frank because we know him, or we think we know him, we trust him, and he makes really good content. There is kind of an implicit trust there, a lot of goodwill like I was talking about, but also there is this kind of aura of expertise. We believe that he is going to follow through on the claims that he has stated on his sales pages. I am saying all this stuff about him not because I'm gushing about him, because I'm in love with him or whatever. No, I'm saying this because I want you to learn from his strategies, because I want you to take a good look at what he's doing on his own social media profiles and think about ways that you can translate that to your own business. So, when setting prices for your own products, take a minute to think beyond just the normal pricing formulas of covering your expenses and your labor. Think about the value your product is offering to your customers and what they might be willing to pay for that value. And there's also a different angle of value-based pricing to consider. How much your prospective customers would be willing to pay for the value your product offers. If Thomas Frank's Notion templates do deliver on what they say, $130 is a pretty low price to pay for an even moderate increase in my productivity. In my line of work, an increase in my productivity translates to a pretty linear increase in my income. the more productive I am, the more money I make. That's not true for every job out there by a long shot, but for some people it is. And those people, again, have these same problems and are willing to shell out that money for Thomas Frank and like his Notion template stuff. So that's my deep dive on him. I hope that you were able to learn a little bit from this video. In a world where it seems like the vast majority of business gurus and people selling stuff online are just trying to extract as much money as possible via whatever morally dubious means they can, it's really refreshing to find someone who, by all accounts, seems to just be trying to make the best products he possibly can. I think that you should be passionate about the stuff that you're selling. I think Thomas Frank is passionate, and I think it's working for him. I think you should be excited about it. And the more passionate you are, the more sincerely you can talk down that raised eyebrow when pitching your products, the better you will perform. I almost guarantee it. If you aren't passionate about the stuff that you're selling, I don't think that you should sell it. If you aren't excited by it, I genuinely don't think that you should bother. Find something you are excited about. This is way too much work to be doing for anything short of your really, really like passionate project. God, I am losing my train of thought here. Okay. Let me know down in the comments what your main takeaways were from this video and what you learned from Thomas Frank's strategy. If you want to learn more about my marketing advice and how to not seem so salesy when you are pitching your products or services online, because it is a little bit nerve-wracking to put yourself out there, you should check out this video right here. And if you want to see what I offer, I've got links to my own resources and art prints in the description. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.